common sense.
Say that
That's
again.
all I'm telling.
Say that again.
About the moon?
No,
stuff?
about expensive.
Oh, I mean, you don't need to go to an expensive college to learn to use common sense.
Okay, so what is common sense to you?
Common sense is like read and comprehend when you're reading instructions to put together a table or a chair.
Okay.
I mean, if you're reading and understanding what they're telling you, then you'll be able to succeed at putting together the chair.
Let me give you an example. Common sense. Your kitchen pipe under the sink broke, water's gushing in. Is it common sense to stare at it or go find the shutoff valve and turn off the water immediately?
B.
B. Okay. We're on the same page. Okay. All right. So I'm with 3 friends here working on the property. I asked them if they'd comment on the nature of the Earth. Do they feel it's round, spherical shaped? Are we spinning 1,039 miles at the equator? And questions that will lead off of that. So I'll start with you. What do you feel? Do you feel the Earth is spinning?
For sure.
So you feel it's round?
Absolutely.
Do you feel spin right now?
You don't feel it because
Okay.
you're not accelerating or decelerating. You're moving at constant speed.
Okay, but when you're in your car and you're going, are you moving?
If you're moving, if you're
But do
pushing
you
the
notice
gas,
the motion?
when you get to speed, not so much.
Okay, but you still feel the motion when you hit a bump in the road.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so you do know motion. Your senses don't betray you.
But if you're in an airplane and it's quiet, you know you're moving because it's loud. You can feel yourself accelerate and decelerate. when
I've been
the
on
pilot does it.
airplanes before. Have you gentlemen been on airplanes before?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, do you feel motion up there with the airplane? I do.
I do, of course.
Okay, so motion is sensible through your senses. That's all I'm saying. Your senses don't betray you. Okay? I mean, do they or no? In this case, no, sometimes. But in this case, like if we're spinning 1,000 miles at the equator, and you're saying you don't feel that motion because you're on the Earth, spinning with the Earth. That's your argument, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I get off the Earth, is the Earth still spinning?
Oh, of course the Earth is still spinning.
Okay. So then, if the Earth is still spinning when you get off the Earth, why does a flight from LAX to Charlotte, North Carolina take 4.5 hours to go west to east and 4.5 hours to go east to west? Because if you're in the air and the Earth is spinning, then the flight back, the flight back, California's coming at you.
You ever been to Hawaii?
Hang on. Let's stay on this question first. So if the Earth is still spinning, like you said, when the plane goes up, and it would have to, then the flight from east to west should take 1.5 hours because at that latitude that they give us, the Earth is spinning 860 miles per hour.
I'll change geographic locations. When you go to Hawaii, it takes about 4 hours and 53 minutes. On the way back, it takes about 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Yes, I understand. A little bit of difference due to jet streams. I'm not arguing. I'm talking about
Not all jet streams.
No.
Spinning of the Earth as well.
No. Well, but let's put it to test. If
Now,
the Earth is
well,
hang on. We're gonna challenge it.
Where's the print?
If the Earth is
He's got it.
If the Earth is spinning 860 miles per hour and the plane's going 500 miles an hour towards the 860 miles per hour with no jet stream or anything, that flight should take 1.5 hours, but it takes 4.5. So when you go up in a drone, the Earth should pass underneath you, but it doesn't. You go on a helicopter, the continent should come to you, but it doesn't. From every reality test, we can't prove the spin of the Earth. That's all I'm saying. You can't prove it. Now, I'm not saying they're not telling us it's happening, but you can't prove it in reality. What say you?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's something that I will start looking into. I've never thought of that.
Hang on. What did he say?
Look at the sun.
So maybe the sun's moving.
I doubt it.
Well, something's moving.
If you look at just our planets, how they're moving, yeah, I don't have all the friggin' things on there. But if you go on there and describe it, how it's spinning, the speed that they have, so relative to our sun, they get the estimate of what the how fast.
So you're saying the sun is not moving?
The sun's moving.
So then the sun is moving, not the Earth.
But we're going around the sun.
Well, how do you prove that?
It's hard to prove.
Now, it's a reification fallacy when they give us a model. The whole sphere is a model.
For us to measure, we got to live thousands of years. We only live, 50, 60 years?
Are you saying they measured the Earth?
What do you mean measured the Earth?
Well, the circumference and the radius.
They measured
Because
it.
if you have a ball, you have to have a circumference. If you have a ball, from the center to the top is the radius. Have they got that measured, or is that a thought?
From the center to any edge is the radius,
Correct. That's what we're
which
saying.
is not really an edge.
Well, the top. Let's just call it the top, the surface of the sphere. So that's given to us at 3,959 miles. So the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles. That would mean that the horizon, as far as your eye could see, would be what? What's the demarcation of that?
Depends on where you're at. Sea level, mountain.
Correct. Good answer. But lower you are or higher you are is not the question.
If you're at sea level looking out in the ocean, what, 30-something miles, approximately?
Well, they say for a 6-foot guy, it's only 3 miles.
Yeah. If you're sea level looking at the sea with that underneath.
They're saying it's 3 miles. Yeah, a 6-foot person.
3 miles?
Yeah, with your eyes, not with a telescope or anything,
Oh, okay. Well,
or binoculars.
yeah, we're limited.
Okay, so but that's math, right? That's math.
Our eyes are limited. To what we
I
can see.
agree. I'm on your side there. So I'm agree. That's optical, right? But if the Earth is 3,959 mile radius, then the curve is also math. Where would it start? Like you said, at sea level, it would start this far out. At higher you go, it's further out because you're looking from higher down. Everyone understand?
Yes.
Okay. So at a 1-foot observer height, you can see the horizon well over 10 miles. But the globe math for this model that they reified into reality says it should only be 1.22 miles by geometry. So we know the Earth is not a sphere because all you got to do is get on the 1 foot high above the sea, and when that horizon could be seen over 10 miles out with a P900 camera, telescope works better than our eyes, the horizon is the Earth curve that they tell us. Well, the Earth curve has to start at 1.22 miles, but it's well over 10 miles because you have 2 oil platforms that one is 9.4 miles and the horizon's behind that. So Earth curve is the horizon, but it's not where it's supposed to be. So therefore debunking Earth curve. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the argument, that's why it's on the internet.
That's deep.
It's deep. So I would just suggest look into it and ask good pertinent questions, because when I look into what the globe is, they always call it a model and they give it numbers. A guy named Al-Biruni in the 11th century went on top of a mountain and he measured dip angle from the top of the mountain to the horizon that day. But as you and I know, you go on a different day, it's foggy, it looks a lot closer.
Yeah.
So he didn't measure geometry, but that's what they give him credit for.
And light refraction.
Well, okay, that's good. So refraction is another thing. Do you gentlemen know what refraction is?
No, never heard of that term.
Okay, well, you can't measure the geometric limitations of a sphere if you have refraction because you can never see it. But they claim to have seen it. And Al-Biruni didn't know about refraction when he measured it. So the current number is wrong. All I'm saying is that even if you bring refraction, then you destroy a sphere with 3959 because you can never see the geometric horizon, because he's saying, as they do, that light refracts it. Well, if it refracts it, how do you know where R is? How do you know it's 3959 if you never saw it? How do you say Venus is the same size as Earth if you can't even measure Earth? You see what I'm saying? So the whole thing that I'm intrigued about this is that when I look to the science publications, they keep calling it a model,
Yeah.
a thought experiment. And I want reality. I want geometry.
Yeah.
You see?
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That is something.
So I'll give you a conclusion.
You got me curious on that. I'm gonna start looking into that.
Yeah, so it's called common sense. You started it off. I thank you for your
Yeah.
involvement.
course.
This is not an easy subject at times because,
not.
people have been taught all their life it's something. But then when you ask questions like, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Can you have gas pressure in your tire without the tire?
No.
Then how do you have all this air next to that vacuum of space, which is, they tell us, 10 to the minus 17 torr, a lot of zeros. How do you have air next to a vacuum? Wouldn't it find a way to fill the available empty space? But it doesn't. So why do we have 14?
Unless there's something so dense that it doesn't allow it to cross.
Yes, a container of some kind. Now, we don't know what the container is. Now, the Bible calls it a firmament, okay?
Yeah.
But the point is, on day 4 in the Bible in Genesis, it says that God made the sun, the moon, and the stars on day 4 and put it inside of this firmament. But we experience,
Like it's outside of the firmament.
no, it's inside the firmament, and the firmament is the barrier, like this gentleman is saying. It fits the Bible narrative, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
So now we have 14.7 psi at sea level. You go a mountain, it's a little less because you have a gradient. But how'd you get gas pressure in the first place? You need a container
Something that's sealing it.
sealing it. So
Or
we have
containing it.
the Earth system with the sun rising and the heat and the gases and the oxygen being made and the trees breathing CO2 and all. You know, the cycle.
Yeah.
And so all the gas is produced at ground level.
Right.
That's why we have 14.7 psi here. And as you go up, it's a gradient. But if it's not contained, what would happen to the gas at ground level?
Raise.
It would disappear. It would fill all of this empty space. So do you actually think space, as they describe it, is real? A vacuum next to air pressure? Is that possible?
No.
Common sense again?
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So it's a second law of thermodynamics violation. Heat to cold, right? Gas would escape. It's called entropy, right? You have a little leak in your tire. It might take a week, but it's going to lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a leak up there?
Do you have something to write with? You said that you have some YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll give you. I'll turn you on to all my research material,
Okay, yeah.
and I'll exchange phone numbers with you guys. And any question that you pose to me, I could take it to other people.
The way you see things, and I would like to show you the writing that I do.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I love controversy. So
Oh, I like it. I already like you. You must like hot sauce too, because that goes with controversy.
is this?
I just bought a molcajete to make.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just bought one. Yeah, give me one that I could have, and then.
You can have that one.
Okay, and then I'll call you and leave a message on your cell phone. Just put your cell phone numbers. Anyway, I want to thank you, gentlemen. This has been fun.